This is a video review for Yamato's 1/60th scale VF-19 Excalibur Fire Valkyrie with Nikki Basara. This figure is a pretty damn good figure. However, the first time I reviewed it, which was a long time ago, several hundred videos ago, back when I was first getting this channel started, somewhere close to just a little under a year ago I reviewed this thing. But I gave it a bad review. The reason why is because I was suffering from buyer's remorse. Why? Because this thing is not worth the price tag. It's a good figure on its own, but for how much it costs, the flaws the thing has, they are unacceptable. What are the flaws? Well, first of all, the plastic out of the box has a very oily feel to it and is not a pleasant tactile sensation. When I did that review, I didn't know what was causing that oily feel to it. After I posted that review, I learned that that oily sensation is from the release agent, which was intentionally left on so the figure would be shiny. Well, it's still quite shiny without it. Honestly, I chalk it up to laziness. It took about a day and a half to clean this thing off to my satisfaction so that when I handle it, it's not oily. It took a long time, a fair bit of effort, especially since I didn't want to break anything, and especially because this figure has screw hole covers, as you can see right there. So disassembling this figure is not easy or advisable. So washing this thing off was quite miserable. I'm not against doing the work that it takes to make my figures enjoyable, but I don't like having to do it, especially when it's something stupid like this. Second of all, the second problem I had is that the gearwalk knees. Out of the box, they were quite tight, satisfactorily tight. But over the next couple of days, they started getting loose. Really loose, to the point where this figure, you could not play with it. You couldn't stand or pose properly because the gearwalk knees would buckle, and it made the figure absolutely miserable. What I ended up doing is I glued the gearwalk knees shut. I no longer have access to the gearwalk knees. It might cry sacrilege. I cry, I paid too much for this piece of shit. It's a great figure, just not $300 great. So, because of that, this thing will still transform, but you can notice some wear in... Stay close. You can notice some wear in there, and that wear is somewhat problematic. I mean, eventually you get to the point where transforming doesn't cause any wear because it'll have done all the wear it's ever going to do, and it'll be somewhat easier to handle everything in there, but... So it's not that big of a problem, but it is somewhat annoying. The next problem is that this red plastic is extremely soft, which manifests itself best on these wings, which are razor thin, and you can... I don't know that if you'll pick this up, but there are quite a few nicks and dings on the edge of the wings, and I don't whoosh this thing around. I generally take care of it, but just tapping your fingernail into it will make it ding. It is unacceptable. I would have preferred a much thicker wing. And then also the entire red plastic here somewhat easily will take blemishes from, say, I accidentally knock it against a wall when I'm carrying it. That happened once. There's a tiny ding on the nose there from that. I'm not happy with that plastic. Now granted, you should be careful with a figure like this, but the amount of care you have to take to make sure this plastic doesn't take any kind of scuff is absurd. To the point where the only safe thing to do is to leave this thing in the box. The next problem is that a lot of the joints get loose. For example, these right here. Now these were always loose, and it's not necessarily because of wear and tear that they're loose. This is bad design. But lots of the joints, like the legs, I've spent a long time working on them to make them at all acceptable. Now, I've bitched about this thing quite a bit. It's actually a pretty good figure, if you don't factor in the price. So, the reason I'm doing this review, there were this reviews, I want to give this thing a fair chance. Not just say it sucks, it sucks, it sucks, it sucks. I want to show this thing off as a good figure on its own, separated from its price. So, to transform this thing, first of all, you need to fold up the landing gear. And come back here, push this to the side and down. And then what you do is you'll pull these up from up here, and then use, because there are speakers in here, because it's a Neki Basura's Fire Valkyrie, which has speakers in its shoulders, and use this to get leverage to pull this off. Same on the other side. And then what we need to do is we need to fold up these tails and then pull on the wings just a little bit so that they detab from the legs, which will allow us to fold the legs down. And then what we need to do is we need to kind of angle these out. We need to pull down on the legs just a little bit and angle these out. And like I was talking about, you can see some wear in there. And the reason why is because there's a tab here that goes into here, and this bit here that will go into here, making a very solid connection there, but it takes a bit of work to get it in there without damaging the figure if you don't have access to the gearlock knees. And then do the same thing on the other side. And fold the wings back. Next thing we are going to do is handle the nose. So fold these forward, pull these back, and push them forward. And then this bit of the neck down here, you'll pull this down. You will bend this down, open up the cockpit, rotate Neki Basura in his seat, and then leave this like this. Bend this, fold it back, and then kind of leave it like that for now. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to come under here, pull this up, which will unlock the upper body here. And I'm probably going to go off camera, so let me adjust the camera. You'll start bringing this up and around. The arms are connected together by the shield, so I want the shield to be on the left arm, so pop the right arm down. Bring these down, not all the way, but a little bit. And the reason why is because there are little flaps that go up when the head goes up. Bring the head up, push the flaps down, and then bring the arms forward, which will cover over the flaps a little bit. Turn the head around, fold this back, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take this whole assembly and bring it over the nose. And then you need to make sure the head is slided all the way forward, so, or not all the way forward, but somewhat forward so that it can get over, and then push it back. And then push it back. There are two little red tabs there. Make sure that the base of the neck ends up under that, and that will allow us to, make sure you push this forward. That will allow us to push these together, and then start lowering it and connect this to here. And that will handle the chest area, although we still have arms to deal with. This is a fairly big toy, so I apologize for going off camera. Then what we need to do is we need to rotate the legs up like this. And there's a red button there that will depress when you rotate it up. And then when it's all the way up, it'll come back out, and that will hold it there for the most part. Fold the legs down, push these back in, and then we'll pull out the feet. And then recollapse everything to just right. Let's see this. Is that right? One more should be good. So now we're getting this thing standing. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and push that all the way down. And then let's focus on the upper body. What we'll do is we will straighten out the arms here on this hinge, bring down this, and I think that is very neat how that works, how that locks that together. And then we will open up the compartment, pull out the hand, rotate it, and then push this together. Do the same to the other side. Bring this down, pull down this sleeve, open up the hand compartment, pull out the hand, rotate it forward. Come on, close. And here we have the Fire Valkyrie in Batroid mode. Let's get it all situated. And that transformation, when performing it for the camera, is, well, it's a fairly detailed transformation, and it takes quite a bit to do it, but performing it for the camera is a lot harder than doing it in person. And the transformation, I really like it. It's fun, it's neat, it's very cool, and there's a lot of thought put into it. And the end result is really neat. I like how it goes from being a very sleek and thin jet to a very sleek yet bulky and strong robot that, except for these wings, doesn't seem to have any kibble. It hides its jet nature very well. For articulation, the head can turn left, right, up, down. The arms can rotate 360 degrees. They can go in and out. Oops. I forgot to push that up. They can go in and out. They can rotate above the elbow, and you get about 90 degrees at the elbow. The hands can turn. You can move the fingers and the thumb. Legs go forward, back, out and in, out about that much. They rotate above the knee only this way. If you rotate it this way, well, you can do it, but it'll force this piece out a little bit. You rotate it out that way. The knees get quite a bit of bend. Then the toes. The toes have some fairly interesting joints. You can pull this out significantly far, which will reveal this joint. And then you can rotate the foot around on this ball joint a lot, and then you can bend these. So there's a lot you can do with the feet. And then you can pull this out if you need it to stabilize a pose, just give you that little extra length. Let me fix what went wrong up here. And that's about it for the articulation. Before I end this review, I want to get this guy into a pretty decent pose, because the last time I reviewed it, one of the comments said, this guy doesn't know how to pose this thing. Well, I wasn't trying to pose it, but I do want to show that I can pose it. And this is the Fire Valkyrie in robot mode. There are a fair number of features and accessories I haven't covered. I just wanted to give this thing a fair chance. I mean, there's a lot of detail, there's a lot I wanted to talk about why I gave it a bad review. I just wanted to give it its fair chance, because it's not at fault for its price. And yeah, thank you for watching. I know it's been a long thing, I know I had a long rant, and I know that a lot of the transformation didn't occur on camera, and it wasn't as smooth or as nice as I would have liked, but hopefully this will redeem me for the sin of saying this thing was a bad figure a year ago. It's not a great figure, but separated from its price, it's not bad. Thank you for watching.